Hello lovelies, I'm Cameron. Welcome to my office. I'm happy you're here. I'm excited to walk you through today's look, primarily because it's a look that I've been doing basically ever since I knew how to do eyeshadow, and it's simple, it's effective, it gets the job done, and it's a look that once you have it done, you see someone that sees you on a regular basis and they look at you and they do one of these. Like, that look means you look extra cute today. What'd you do? And you're like, today I'm a smoke show. Smoky eye. And they'll be like, oh, no wonder I was getting lost in there. It does not require a lot of product. It does not require a lot of pigment. So when I say smoky eye, if you think dark black heavy eyes, that is an option. That's not what we're going for today. This is a light nude to brown smoky eye. Let's walk through the ingredients, shall we say, what you will need for the look. So the star of this look is a collection of matte shadows. And if there's a man out there named Matte Shadows, I hope he knows how needed he is to accomplish this look. Just kidding, he's not necessary. The reason this look is the bee's knees, it puts the shadow in eyeshadow. Typically, I tend to lean toward shimmer on the lids and having it be a pronounced eye look. I want there to be attention drawn to what I painted on my eyelids. With this look, it's very subtle, it's versatile, so it's a day to night, anytime, anywhere type of look, but what it does is just kind of elevates your look. Because this look is about simplicity and light layers and light colors, I would recommend staying away from heavy, harsh, dark, heavy pigmented shadows. That's just not what this specific look calls for. So what you'll need is a handful of matte nude eyeshadows. Typically your nudes are going to be a range of colors starting at like a cream, beige, tan, light brown, darkest brown. That's usually the range. Now I just encourage you to find nudes that you feel work best. For some people, they like warmer nudes. Think more toasty brown, almost like cinnamon, nutmeg, and then there's more like cool tones. So think more like these chocolate chips are cool toned and also my fuel for life. But they're cool, think a little bit dusty, think a little more gray. Find what you like and go with it. If you're using a nude eyeshadow palette, which I'd recommend just because it's everything in one place and typically has a color story for you to follow, meaning they already picked the shades out for you to pick and choose from to create a look that will always be cohesive and look good. I say use what you have, find what you like, and just go with it. I love eyeshadow palettes. The possibilities are just truly endless with them. And I love when the colors are all nicely lined up. The one I'm using today is an all-time favorite. It's one I discovered pretty early on in my makeup journey, and because of that, I must inform you, it's discontinued. However, I know of some alternatives that I'm more than happy to share with you in the description. Feast your eyes on where it all began. Smashbox Photo Matte Eye Palette. My favorite part about it is that it has a warm and cool tone section with transition shades in the middle. Makes it easy to customize. Custom eyes. I'm going to take a quick second, hop on a soapbox, and let you know a palette like this, one that is actually available for sale somewhere, will change your eyeshadow game. Absolutely. A nude eyeshadow palette is to a makeup enthusiast as flour is to a chef. You can make a cake, you can make noodles, you can make a sauce, a bechamel. It's versatile, it's something you should have at all times, and it's a staple, a great base. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The magic of this look is that you need a simple combination of colors. The magic number here is 3. A light shade, that most people will call a transition shade, closest to your skin tone. A medium brown, which is a couple shades darker than your original shade. And a brown that's even a little bit darker. If you want it to be a little bit deeper, then go deeper. Next, and equally as important, is your brush situation. Again, I like palettes because it's fewer moving parts. I like dual-ended brushes for the same reason. Unfortunately, this specific brush is nameless. However, I'm pretty sure I received it in an Ipsy bag at some point in 2019. Regardless, there are plenty of brands who make dual-ended brushes similar to this. One end should be a shader or blending or crease brush. A lot of brands have different names for them, but it should look like this. And the other end, the bristles should be shorter, more dense, and a little flatter. If you don't have a dual-ended brush or aren't able to get your hands on one, look for these kind of brushes, just separate, you know? This side, for applying and blending your lighter colors, primarily on the top lid, and this end for applying a little bit more strategically, closer to your lash line, for a little bit more density of color. Bonus brush, another fluffy blending brush that you keep clean to ensure a better blend. Because the key to this look is blending. The last step for prep is primer. This doesn't necessarily mean that everybody needs to use an actual eyeshadow primer. I actually know a lot of people who cannot stand eyeshadow primers just because of the texture. A lot of times it creates an uneven texture and the shadows can grip weirdly to it and it just looks strange. Some people don't put anything under their eyeshadow. Others may use just a little bit of setting powder. Some may put concealer and then setting powder. Others may use a cream eyeshadow and then set with the powder eyeshadow on top. It really is based on preference, but I recommend if you have oily lids like I do, that typically means that anything you put on top is eventually going to move because the oil is just going to push it out. I find that that's especially not fun when you do a look with primarily matte shadows, because when it's matte and you have oils coming through, it just makes it muddy, it creates a weird texture, and it takes away the smoothness of the look. That being said, if I want this look to last, I'll opt for a shadow primer. I've tried a handful and my favorite at the moment is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. It applies really nicely when you put down a thin, even layer, and it doesn't create an uneven texture on the eyelid, and it really does last all day. To get things started, I'm going to take my clean powder brush just to buff away any excess oil on my lid. I like to start at the crease of my eye where I know that my shadow tends to move the most because that's the mobile part of my eyelid. Spreading it out so that your layer ends up translucent and you can't see any residue. Letting it dry for a few seconds so it doesn't move and make sure it stays in place. Using my fluffy shader brush, I'm taking my transition shade, so the lightest shade that's closest to my skin tone, and starting to apply it at my crease. Lightly tapping and blending, and not being shy about applying all over the lid, even in the inner corner. Then, using the same brush, flipping over to my clean side and using my medium shade. Getting just a little bit, tapping off the excess. It's always better to start with a little bit and build up to the color that you want. This look is all about building in layers. Going in a V shape at the outer corner of my eye, starting at my crease, and then down toward my lash line. Building really subtle layers and bringing it closer to the middle without going too far into the inner corner. You basically want it to stop where your iris is. Feel free to pause after you apply, look straight ahead in your mirror, and assess where you've gone and where you need to go. And using that same medium shade, and starting to focus it more on the outer corner, close to the lash line. Just to directly apply the color and then blend as we go. Flipping over my brush to blend. If you can't tell yet, this look is all about blending. This is a look that you want to submit to the Blendation Foundation. I just made that up. You want to submit your application, have them look it over, and give you a giant stamp of approval that this blend was awesome. And if you're not comfortable with blending, or if you're using a really heavily pigmented shadow, maybe like an Anastasia, a Huda, even some ColourPop, just make sure to use a teeny bit of product on your brush, and when in doubt, blend it out. Just keep going, just keep going. If you feel like it's enough, it's not, just keep going. And you'll make some progress. Using the clean side of my flat brush and going into my darkest shade, which in the scheme of things is not that dark, but it helps create the gradient and add depth to the eye, which is what we're all about. Tap off the excess and press this as close to your lash line as you can get. Press and blend, press and blend. Same V-shaped motion up toward your crease, down at your lash line, just a smaller range of motion. With your bigger fluffy brush, you could cover more area and you'd want to make it a little bit more diffuse. With your smaller brush, you wanted to keep it as close to your lash line as possible, but still give it a little bit of a blend so there's not a stark difference between the layers. I'm basically done with my top lid. I'm going to put on my concealer. I just wanted to ensure that if there was any fallout that I could clean it up easily without taking off a lot of layers. Then we'll follow up with a little bit of lower lash shadow. This also allows you to clean up the edges a little bit and help enforce the shape that you want. A bonus, if you have naturally darker under eyes, maybe lighten up on the concealer a little bit because you have built-in eyeshadow. You'll need less product. Now for the lower lash line, go back in with your medium brown shade and your dense flat brush. Pat it directly at your lower lash line. In the same outer half of your eye, not going too close to the inner corner. Tap the color in and then blend it down. Then, using your darkest shade and the same brush, do the same thing, just within a smaller radius, focusing much closer to your lash line and much closer to the outer corner. Take your clean blending brush and blend the outside to the inside. Using my lightest shade again just to brighten up the inner corner and the center of the lid and blend it all together a little bit better. I'm gonna leave it there. If you want a little extra depth and even more of a smoke, or to take this from day to night, a dark brown eyeliner will definitely do the trick. Using one of my favorite liners, Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in the shade Demolition, tracing the outermost part of my lash line and stopping at that outer third. This just helps to thicken your lash line and draw even more attention outward. Same on the lower lashes. I want to take this a touch further just because I can and bring it from my outer corner 2/3 of the way in, not touching my tear duct. The last step for the eyes is lashes. Most of the time I'll choose to use an eyelash curler over basically any other step of makeup. I just love what it does for my lashes. I did already curl mine a little bit earlier today, and because for this lash, I want to wing it out as much as I can in the same direction of the shadow. I don't want to curl them so that they're not going straight up. I want to keep them a little bit closer to the lash line so that I can manipulate them a little bit more. Using a tried and true product for me, L'Oreal Voluminous Million Lashes. A wand like this with a bunch of little teeth is great for a lash look like this because we want them to be separate and individualized. We want to be able to grip them really well and bring them out to the outer corner. Barely using any mascara on the inner corner to really draw out that shape. Layer, layer, layer. Wiggle at the roots and bring it out toward the end. If at any point while you're applying your mascara you happen to get it on your skin, let it dry, even if it's on top of your eyeshadow. Once it's dry, use a Q-tip, a clean brush, whatever you've got, and just lightly wipe it off. And that'll get the job done without completely disturbing your shadow. I'm going to finish everything off with some powder, a little extra blush, and a nice neutrally nude lip. This is the final look. Our soft, sultry, simple, smoky eye. Thank you so much for hanging out. I greatly appreciate you. I hope this smoky nude look infuses you with the soft, sexy confidence that it does for me. I just feel like I can wear it anywhere and do anything and just feel bomb. As always, I'm here if you have any questions. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Love ya.